Hello, and welcome to the Real Ram Fam. On my channel, I intend to provide you with a safe platform to discuss the intersections of your entire being, to be able to be comfortable in your own skin, in mission or position. There is no one like you, and we all have a purpose and message. I, for one, am a black woman, mother of four, a military veteran, and a wife, and a social worker, just to name a few. From my channel, I hope that you learn more about military families and social workers. Three of the social work values are my aim in each video: importance of human relationships, dignity and worth of the person, and social justice. No matter what you initially think when you hear social worker, there is more to the profession. Trust me. Stay locked in by subscribing to the channel, and be sure that you hit that notifications bell so you don't miss any new uploads. Without further ado, on to today's episode. What's up, Ram fam? How y'all doing out there today? Today I got with me my boy Rob Naylor, and what we're gonna do first is we're gonna let this song ride out. I lost it for a minute, but I'm about to bring it back.
Bring it back.
We're gonna let this song ride out for a minute, get y'all into the mood. Y'all know who it is.
I can't do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving. Now we going north, going up to three, up to three. Got this joy inside of me because I can't do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving. Now we going north, going up to three, up to three. Got this joy inside of me because I got the key. We've been really moving places, always on the low. I was shining in the tunnel cause I got the glow. People really hating and it really starts to show. Yeah, we gon' level up again cause that's just how we roll. Yeah, came in with the sauce. Yeah, learned out from the boss. Yeah, I've been learning lessons from the struggles and the losses. Praying for communion for the races since we lost it. I done had enough of it for all the pain and do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving. Now we going north, going up to.
I'm gonna go all the way to the female.
All right.
Female power.
Oh yeah.
My past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving. Now we going north, going up to three, up to three. Got this joy inside of me because I got the key. Going on, think I need a pinch, show it up, but I gotta shine today. Go I got it burn. Drip too hard, can't catch his way. I find myself, I ain't the same. Can't trust nobody. So much pain. One breath in my hand went through the rain. This for the lost souls, don't need no flame. But they go to my name. Going up.
All right, what's up? Hope y'all feeling that. Y'all know who that is. That's my son David and his group Taking Back September. Y'all, if y'all have not checked them out yet, please do so. Maybe y'all can get him inclined to write y'all some beats, write y'all a song, inspire the young folks.
Yeah.
So, as I said, today I got a guest. You guys have seen his work plenty of times. I'm trying to get this ticker to stop. Okay, you guys have seen his work. Checking out my shirt, Melanin Vibes. Check out the hat, Rob Naylor. That's my boy, Rob. What's going on, Rob?
My sister What's going on? Hey, appreciate you having me on your wonderful show. I love what you're doing.
For sure. So before we get into our introductions, I'm going to show one more shirt, and then we're going to save that for the midway point.
All right.
So y'all have seen these shirts. You've seen the work. So therapy works. Therapy doesn't work, but it really does. Right? With the signature logo on the back, so y'all know whose shirt I'm rocking.
Yeah.
For more shirts, make sure you check out my page, his page, my Facebook, his Facebook. In the box. All right. So today, Rob is here with me. We're going to talk about some sports shows, some athletes, how it makes your personality or doesn't make your personality. And before we get started, oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do one more thing. Before we get started, Rob, I need for you to share with the people as I pull it up. My screen share be acting crazy on me. So
Technology.
yeah, that's why I forgot to do it. Share with the people, first of all, who you are, how we know each other, where you from, while I pull this up, and then what is your birth order, and if you think that that fits your description of you, is it accurate?
Okay. What's up, y'all? Rob Naylor Jr. I'm from. Well, I grew up in Waldorf, Maryland. Um, Went to the Air Force. First base that I went to was Pope Air Force Base, where I met your host of this wonderful show. And that was a long time ago. I'm not gonna put a number on how long ago that was because I don't like to really date myself that much. But it was a little bit of time ago. And now I am actually back home. I'm in the Air Force as well. And that's just one of many things that I do. I'm an entrepreneur. Like I said, I'm in the Air Force. I'm many things, as you mentioned before. I'm a dad, a husband, a brother, all of that good stuff. As far as birth order, I am essentially the middle child because I have an older sister. I have a blended family. Um, But biologically speaking, I'm the middle child. I have an older sister and a younger sister, so I'm right in the middle of those two. Um, does it fit my personality? I think so, especially being if we're only considering those the only boy. I've been very independent since I was little, um, and I always felt like I'm a go-getter, I guess you could say. Like I'm all, and I don't really have a fear of failing, pretty much. And I think a lot of that comes from being probably the middle child. I don't know. Maybe you could psychoanalyze me or something like that. But I'm always on a mission to prove myself more so to myself than anybody else. Um, but yeah, I don't know if that
Every
answers.
time I hit unmute, it keeps going away. Can you see this?
Yeah,
Okay.
firstborns, middleborns, lastborns, the only child. Yep.
So
Let's see. Feels left out. Peacemaker, social, adaptable. Oh, I'm socially adaptable, that's for sure, because I kind of adapt to the room I'm in for the most part.
can you be rebellious?
I'm very rebellious. And I think honestly, but I'm able to kind of become a chameleon in a way, which has helped me through my Air Force career. Because as you know, the Air Force is one that makes you kind of shape yourself to fit it for the most part. But when it comes to anything else, I'm pretty much rebellious. I think I go against the grain a lot, but that helps me.
Sorry,
No, you're good.
parenting for a minute.
I already know.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna bring up these shows. So y'all can go in the chat at any moment when y'all have any questions. But we're gonna get started. So I have been watching The Last Dance,
Mm-hmm.
and this is I did not know what it was about.
Okay.
But I was told later on that it was supposed to be about the Bulls last time together when they won the championship.
Yeah, back in the '90s. Yep.
The commentary that I had heard about it
Mm-hmm.
prior to seeing it, people were upset because it was more about Michael Jordan and not the whole team. Speaking of Michael Jordan, this made a lot of Jordan fans upset because one, it was mostly about him.
Mm-hmm.
Two, he did not talk about his own flaws
Right.
in this particular documentary. And this is some stuff that I saw as I watched it, not really knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
Each episode, as I watched, was supposed to be I thought about a different person because that's how it started.
Okay.
As it started, I thought this episode was gonna be about Jordan. This episode was gonna be about Pippen. This one was gonna be about Rodman. Oh, and Jerry Krause. Like I thought each person, but they all circled back around to Jordan.
Yeah.
So before we get going on my opinion too much, can you first tell us about basketball? The like 3 to 5 of the players, what their positions are and what they typically do. What is their position and their point within the team?
Okay. So I'll first say I started playing basketball when I was probably about 5 years old. So I played basketball my whole life pretty much. And then on top of that, being someone who grew up during the Jordan era and watching the Bulls and all of that, I have a little bit more context, as I'm sure a lot of people in my, in our age range and all that, they have, because the problem I see with it now, and I'll go back to the positions and all that stuff, but the problem now is context. There's a lot of context that's missed from people who are just now seeing it versus people who have watched it from before. So, and in basketball, it changes through the generations. So in basketball, you have positions. Of course, you have your 5 positions. You have your point guard, your shooting guard, your small forward, your power forward, and then your center. Typically, your center is for anyone who doesn't know, the center is the big, tall guy who usually, plays down low, gets the rebounds. Let's say, think about Shaquille O'Neal, right? That's your center. Power forwards. Nowadays, there's no traditional power forward, but back in the day, you had power forwards in the game. Small forwards, shooting guards, and point guards. Michael Jordan played shooting guard. I think he was listed in the shooting guard position, but in reality, he could play about 3 positions. So he could play point guard, shooting guard, and small forward if needed.
What does the center do? What does each person do? What does the center do? The shooting guard, the power forward, shooting guard,
so that box area underneath the basket, that's called the paint, right? The center's job is to control the paint. He takes care of anything down there. He scores down low, he rebounds down low, he keeps the other center from controlling the paint. Power forward is kind of like the center. It's usually the strong guy that's not quite a center. His job is pretty much the same thing as a center or similar. The small forward is kind of an in-between as a shooting guard and a power forward. Now, the shooting guard's job is to score. It's in the shooting guard. Your job is to score. The point guard's job, you're pretty much the floor general. It's like similar to what would be the quarterback in football. You call the plays, you run the offense. You're pretty much the coach on the floor. And then you have certain circumstances where you have anomalies like Michael Jordan, who can do pretty much anything on the floor. And he's not boxed into a particular position, so to speak. He's a playmaker. He's on the floor. He does whatever he has to do to get the team to win. So as far as his job is to be Michael Jordan. Nobody's going to be like, Mike, don't do that. Don't do that. Mike, hey, that's why I feel the coach, their jobs were pretty much, I don't want to say easy because I've never been an NBA coach, but they were kind of, hey, Mike, go do stuff.
Okay, so the Bulls, since that's where we're going to start. Okay. What was Scottie Pippen? What was his position?
He was small forward.
Okay, so that's Scottie Pippen. And what was Dennis Rodman?
Power forward.
Okay. Horace Grant.
Horace Grant was a power forward too. Yeah, Horace Grant was a power forward. Now, if you had Dennis Rodman and Horace Grant in the game at the same time, you could pretty much say Horace Grant was a center or Dennis Rodman is a center. Like, you can toggle them. It doesn't really matter.
I should probably do it that way. Who was the center?
During Michael Jordan's era, he had a bunch of different ones. I remember, like, when I was younger, you had, like, Luke Longley, you had Bill Winnington, it was a bunch of guys that weren't really that great, but they were effective because for whatever reason, just if you're on the team with Michael Jordan, like, You could be. Your job is limited. You just get rebounds, make sure the other team doesn't score, get the ball to Michael Jordan.
Okay, so I remember that Charles Oakley
Charles
was
Oakley,
on
yeah,
the
he
team.
played for a second.
He was what?
He was a power forward at the time.
Okay, so all right, so we don't get too technical and lose people.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm watching this, all right, so I learned a lot of us know Michael Jordan's story. Well, our generation knows Michael Jordan's story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He wanted to be the greatest.
Right.
He was very competitive.
Right.
You tell Jordan he cannot do something, that's going to drive him to do
Whatever
the
you
thing
said he
to
can't
show
do.
you wrong.
Yeah.
So when I'm watching this, Mimi she said we losing her. First of all, Mimi, I hope you watched The Last Dance because this will help bring it in. And your brother played basketball, so your brother played basketball and football. So we're gonna bring it around. It's gonna make sense. So, so his personality, right, of doing whatever it takes to win. And as you said, the coach's job was easy because Jordan can play a lot of different positions. So when I'm watching Charles Oakley, the relationship, and I'm talking to my husband, and he's like, Charles Oakley was the one person who could keep Jordan in check.
Yeah. That's
when he left, how important is that to have somebody on the team who can keep this attitude in check?
I don't even know if it's so much that he was keeping it in check because Oakley was a tough guy himself. So I think that's just what it was. It was like when you have certain personalities, they can kind of measure up the same or similar personalities because he might have had a similar personality to Jordan. He just didn't have the same skill set as Jordan. Mm-hmm. But I would think from a therapy standpoint, Michael Jordan would be a good case to study, right? Because people forget that, like, a lot of people think Michael Jordan has just always been Michael Jordan. Like, he was just always a great, like, just the greatest player, right? But if you go back, if you know his story, growing up in the house he grew up in, for one, I used to think that I could grow to be 6'6" because Michael Jordan grew to be 6'6", and his parents were short on the shorter side, and my parents were on the shorter side, and then he ended up being, well, he hit a growth spurt in high school. Mm-hmm. He was like 5'8" or something like that. Then he just went to like 6'6". So I was like, wow, all right, I'm gonna try to do that. I ain't grow to 6'6", but in the household he grew up in, he was competitive with his siblings. He was cut from his high school team. So right there, you have somebody telling you that you're not good enough, right? So to overcome that mindset, because a lot of people fold when they don't make the high school team. They say, you know what, all right, maybe it's not for me. But he was able to overcome that. And I think that the mentality that he has transcends sports in a sense. Because to take that and overcome that is big. Not only to take that and overcome it, but to become arguably the best player to ever play basketball, right? Because I'm sure there's a lot of guys that were on a high school team that just thought they were head and shoulders above Michael Jordan. And maybe at the time they were. But for him to become who he is, and it probably developed that type of attitude in him that people don't like. I heard when I was younger, I never thought of Michael Jordan as being what they say he is. Like, you know, that guy that needed his attitude checked and all of that.
So as I'm watching it, and I could see that people are talking about his behavior. Mm-hmm. And so let's throw a little bit of military in this too, right? Because people in the military, this is how you got to be. You got to be so strict. You got to be non-emotional, because this is also what Jordan was talking about. It's not about emotion. It's about winning.
Yeah.
Him coming into that locker room or to practice every day because he wants to win so bad. He wants to prove people wrong. And leadership. Mm-hmm. Leadership. You said that the point guard, right, is the coach on the floor.
Yeah, that's the team leader.
Just the team leader.
Yeah, typically.
So, and Scottie Pippen was a small forward, right? So when they revealed that Jordan was such a bully, well, they didn't. I don't think they put this in The Last Dance because I still got 2 more episodes. But I learned that Jordan was so horrible that he kept his teammates from being fed. If they didn't do what he wanted, or if they lost the game or whatever, he told the staff, "Do not feed them." So he had teammates not being fed. But I did see on The Last Dance on how he was teasing the short guy, Jerry Krause, whatever, the manager.
He's a general manager, I believe, or something
General
like
manager.
that.
Now,
or the owner.
How is that good, effective, a great leader? How are you going to push me to want to win when I see how you're mistreating the general manager? Like, that's real personal. Him talking about his shortness and all of that. So I'm gonna let you take it from there.
All right. So my opinion on the way he allegedly treated Jerry Krause is a little different from how he allegedly treated the team. So, I don't believe in being a jerk, and like everybody has a different leadership style, right? No matter what industry it is, if it's the NBA, basketball, NBA, or if it's the military, or if it's a Fortune 500 company, it doesn't matter. People have leadership styles, right? Some people think that you have to be a jerk or a hard ass, so to speak, to be an effective leader. Some people just don't know how to be a leader without being like that. And to me, that's kind of a flaw on their behalf, right? So I can't really say that he was right or wrong for how he. Well, I can't say. I will say I wouldn't act like that because I never acted like that throughout my whole career, and I feel like I get the most out of people using the old adage, you catch more flies with honey, or whatever. I don't feel like I gotta, especially dealing with grown people. I don't think you have to really do the things that he did, but I don't know. Whatever he did, I'm gonna say this: the results were there. They had a whole dynasty. Like they were winning, like clockwork. It was like every season you knew the Bulls were gonna win at a certain point. And growing up, I never thought. I mean, you heard stories about like little locker room stuff, stuff that happened in practice. But as an athlete, it's kind of like normal. Like teammates get into it. It gets intense. You have testosterone and sometimes egos and stuff like that. And so sometimes people get into it. I mean, I've never fought any of my teammates, which they said, Jordan did punch Steve Kerr in the face. But I don't know what Steve Kerr did or said. But I've gotten into it with teammates, but at the end you come back. It's like anything. You might have a little disagreement, but you come back and you say, all right, we're teammates at the end of the day. Let's get let's win. As far as Jerry Krause, I don't know, man, because at that point it's a business. It's a difference in business. Because Jerry Krause did a lot of underhanded stuff for the sake of business, I guess you could say. And so I guess Michael Jordan was a lot of times voicing how he felt, but knowing that he couldn't just dictate anything, he probably was just joking about it, like in a little demeaning way. Because that's what I saw in The Last Dance. He was making little jokes about Jerry Krause and this, that, and the third. But like when your hands are tied, I guess you kind of resort to that, just a little jokey joke stuff, but you really mean what you're saying. Yeah, it's a brotherhood. It's definitely a brotherhood. And so, yeah, to me, it's different. The team versus Jerry Krause, like, I don't know. I don't agree with how he acted towards his teammates. I really don't.
Okay. So when it comes to, you said they got results.
Yeah.
That's not all Jordan, though.
It's not.
So some of that is a lot of it is the coach. It's Phil Jackson.
Yeah. So, all right. Watching the Bulls, right? Most of it was Michael Jordan. I'm gonna say that.
Okay.
The reason I say that.
Go ahead.
the reason I say that is because as a basketball connoisseur, I understand the degree of difficulty to win in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
and also to get, it's a team sport. So to get, it doesn't matter how much talent you have on that team. If you guys aren't able to come together in a certain way, but Jordan was able to carry his team a lot too. Because Jordan at some point, and that's why I said we're in 2021, right? We're so far removed from the Jordan era that people forgot that night after night, he was scoring 50 points, 50 points, 50. But not only that, he was playing defense and he was making his teammates better. So regardless of how he treated them or how they acted behind closed doors, he was getting the best out of his team that ended in results. Like he wasn't just about himself. He was actually making the team better. If you watch the games, Jordan was setting the team up, passing the ball. He was dictating a lot of stuff that happened. Like Jordan was making stuff happen. It wasn't like he was just, oh, this is about me. It wasn't about just Jordan. Now, behind closed doors, it might have been a different story. But on that floor, I couldn't tell.
So what was being revealed slowly, right?
Yeah.
Or like let's stick with your words. Allegedly, this is what's being revealed. And you know what? Before I say that, this is what I don't like is that they made everything just look so easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's video, so they just made everything just look so easy in each episode.
Yeah.
So it took time to get Jordan to adjust and lead his team. Jordan was all about me, and he wanted that ball. And so until Phil Jackson came with his Phil Jackson ways of coaching, right? He the one who introduced yoga to the team and the American Indian ways and bringing the whole team together and allowing them to be themselves, which we talk about Dennis Rodman.
Mm-hmm.
And introducing the triangle, which you're going to teach us about later. Mm-hmm. Jordan didn't want to pass the ball. He thought that everything was to just get me the ball. And until he fully adopted the triangle of getting everyone a chance to shoot that ball, he was not about that team.
Well, when Jordan first came in the league, his team wasn't good. He didn't have Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and all of those guys. Their team sucked. The Bulls were sorry when he first came in the league. So he came to a team that sucked. And coming into the NBA, it's a business at the end of the day, right? So you have to learn how to solidify yourself in that business. Because it's about, if you go into the NBA, it's about that. It is about you because you have to get your foot in the door to get your contract. You have to get, your contract renewed. You have to be able to say, hey, I belong on this team. I need to stay on this team. Now, if he went into the NBA giving everybody else the shine, he may not be in the league that long. So he had to show that he could be who he's supposed to be in the NBA. Now, on a sorry team, if I know I'm the best player on that sorry team, you better believe I'm going to shoot that ball all the time. I'm shooting, passing it to myself, shooting. I might look at a guy and be like, now I'm going to go ahead and shoot this. And I think that's a lot of times what Jordan did. But then, like you said, like when Phil Jackson came in, even before Phil Jackson, Chuck Daly, I think it was the coach, they kind of helped Jordan see that, and Doug Collins was the coach, helped Jordan see that, teamwork makes the dream work. But it was when he started getting better players around him that they were able to kind of become a team, because he had to get knocked down a lot of times too. They were losing. They were losing before they started winning. People forget that too. It wasn't like he came in the league and just started winning.
Yeah, and I understand that. So my sister said, sound like he had high expectations for his team and got him to meet them. He did.
He did.
However, as the non-basketball player, I'm looking at it like I can't say that. I'm looking at this documentary
Yeah.
and what I have learned that you do not have to be a jerk. So within this documentary, if this was supposed to be about the team,
Mm-hmm.
how everything was, what got them to the championship and all of that, and this documentary being all about Jordan in the end, we did not
Yeah.
learn much more about the other players. He alone did not get them to meet the expectations. So let's go ahead and let's talk about Dennis Rodman.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dennis Rodman is someone, particularly back then. I don't know how people look at him today,
Mm-hmm.
but he was the troublesome guy. He was the weird guy. He, whatever. But Phil Jackson was like, I gotta let him be himself, right?
Right. Yeah.
And in that episode, what did Jordan say? Jordan didn't have any belief of letting him go off and go be himself, letting him getting some stuff off of his chest and all this right there. He had an issue with it. He believed he wasn't gonna come back. May be true, may not be true. But in later episodes, when Jordan needed to go get some steam off of his chest, it was fine. Jordan was like, I came back. But so did Rodman.
So I think the difference in those, and I correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a minute since I've seen the documentary, but Jordan left, he retired. Are you talking about when he retired?
No, I'm not talking about when he retired. I'm talking about I don't remember what happened because I'm so many episodes past that.
So there was a
Something
time.
happened. Jordan went and took when he was gambling. When he was off in Vegas gambling, and he came back a little bit, like he wasn't that late, but he was a couple of hours late. And so he was like, I was just a little bit late. And my game was, whatever. He was off. That's what happened. He was late coming back from gambling, and his game was bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't up to Jordan standards. However, when Rodman had left off on his little splurge, he was out longer than he was authorized to be. But when he came back, Rodman was on fire. He was on fire at practice, in the game, all of that. So because you Jordan,
but then
you don't have to be a jerk. No, you cannot have double stand. No,
you got to think about it though. Rodman was trying to leave during games. Like he wasn't trying to come to the game. He was. That's like somebody supposed to be at work and they say, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna take a couple of days off of work and don't tell nobody. Just I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Like let's say in the Air Force, right? I got a troop that's like, I'm going through it. I'm just gonna take some days off. You didn't tell nobody. You just left. You went to Vegas. I ain't know. Nice of you to show up 5 days later. I didn't know you were going to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, Jordan was Michael was a cultural icon. When he came through, again, like I said, this is 2021. So people who didn't live through it, the Jordan insanity, the Jordan culture shift and all of that, don't understand just how big Jordan was. Like, it's almost like how people live, how they're looking at, and we'll probably come back to it later, but Steph Curry or LeBron James, but multiply that by like maybe 5. It was that big because nobody saw a player like Jordan in that particular era. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure people before that, because it's generational. Like I said, the older heads that watch like Dr. J and all those guys that played when the screen was black and white only, I'm pretty sure they would say that whoever was the Michael Jordan of that day was the best player ever. For us, Michael Jordan was the best player ever. And he had a lot of special treatment because he was Michael Jordan. He sells your tickets. He makes the bulk of your team's income. When you bringing in that type of revenue to a team or organization or a business, as the NBA is, I'm not about to tell Michael Jordan he can't go do whatever he needs to do. Now, Rodman, on the other hand, you're not Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just not Michael Jordan. So, I don't know. And then the other thing is the perspective we have to keep is this is a documentary told by somebody. It's almost like playing a game of telephone. That may not have been the case at that time. Because I remember when Michael Jordan took time off because his dad got murdered. So somebody who doesn't realize that would probably just think he's just taking time off. But Rodman Rodman had a lot of stuff with him though. Rodman was just weird from the outside looking in. I kind of understand Rodman a little more knowing his story now. But like you said, when Phil Jackson embraced his what's the word? His quirkiness or whatever you want to call it, and understood him as a person and what would make him tick. Because see, as a leader, I think when you understand what makes your people tick, you can accommodate that. Like he did with Rodman. But Jordan, I think a lot of times people try to make Jordan look like the bad guy. And a lot of times he probably doesn't help himself not look like the bad guy. But the results, I mean, they were winning like crazy. So not saying it's okay to treat people like a jerk because you're winning. But they were winning.
So to take it just a little bit off of the fact that they were winning, as you watch the documentary, and again, like I'm not sure of all of the commentary, but it's not about the team. It's about Jordan. A lot of stuff. Okay, so here's one thing that Amir pointed out that may be in the commentary, or maybe this is his own thing. Jordan was snitching on people as you're watching the documentary, right? So there was him talking about people was doing coke and blah 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 at the hotel and stuff when he first came on the team. Why would you tell that as opposed to just saying they was in the room doing stuff, right? Because people can figure it out, That's one. And then two, why didn't he tell his business? Throughout this whole documentary, Jordan didn't tell his business. Like, I'm on episode 8 of 10 or 10 of 12, however many they are. He wasn't in there talking about I was in the hotel with this girl or that girl. Where's your business?
Well, I wouldn't snitch on myself either. I wouldn't self-incriminate. But
no one did.
Yeah, I also wouldn't throw my teammates under the bus. But a lot of people that know the NBA know that that's not an anomaly for those players to do stuff like that. Like I've heard those stories from guys because all right, so I'm a little different. I used to watch like classic sports and a lot of old NBA stuff, even when I was little. So I've heard those stories from guys who played in the NBA in the 70s, the 60s. They all did the same. They lived a rock star lifestyle. Like they did a lot of that stuff. So I think in Jordan's eyes, it wasn't anything to say. I don't want to speak for Jordan, but I'm just saying for him to just point that out. And let me say this. I don't agree with everything Jordan does or says. I'm not like I'm not a Jordan disciple or nothing like that. So I would never snitch. I don't agree with him snitching. It was some stuff he did on a documentary I didn't even agree with. But I will say, I think the documentary did clear up a lot of stuff that people who followed basketball during that time saw from the outside looking in and had some questions about. It kind of put the light on it. Like, oh, that's why that happened. Oh, that's why this happened. Because to be honest, it looked like his teammates loved Jordan. They never showed that they didn't like him.
That's the point. That's the point. That Jordan did this documentary, so it was all about Jordan and making Jordan look good. So yeah, the team want their credit. The teammates didn't feed into him, right? But if they weren't playing well, maybe they wanted someone to get them help.
Now, Scottie Pippen wants his credit. I don't think the whole team really cares that much. No, Horace Grant. I would say I've heard Horace Grant speak out before, and Scottie Pippen. Everybody else, like I'm gonna go down the list of players people probably don't even know. B.J. Armstrong, Bill Whittington, all of those guys. I don't think they really care that much because you're playing. I mean, you're on one of the greatest teams in NBA history. You're getting paid because, like I said, the NBA is a business. So, like at a certain point, it's not necessarily about giving me my credit, as long as it shows up on the stat sheet, which allows my agent to go in and negotiate a great deal for me to be on the team next year. I don't think they care beyond that a lot of times. And when you're playing with Michael Jordan, what are you gonna say? Hey, Mike, give me the ball.
Okay, so that's then. That's in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
But today, this documentary comes out today, present time.
Yeah.
So if this is supposed to be a team documentary, it should have been about the team. So I'm gonna kind of go ahead because we have 40 minutes. I'm looking at this, and as a supporter, I learned Paxson,
John Paxson,
Kukoc,
Ronnie Kukoc.
Well, definitely them two. They won. They were the buzzer beater scorers in some championship in some of the games. That whole episode was still about Jordan. Like I learned like 2-3 minutes that those were the buzzer beaters. This is why that game was won. It wasn't because of Jordan, it was because of them. And I think that they should have gotten more credit, more of that episode. As I said, I have watched you be the buzzer beater for the team. Dang, I've watched my husband plenty of times. Like I may not remember nothing else from that game, but I knew who made that last shot. I know why we won that game.
Yeah.
No, it's not so. So when we're talking about that game, that Kukoc and Paxson, that's what we should have been talking about. We should not have been should have been watching. We shouldn't have been watching how difficult of a time Jordan was having. No, I should have been learning more about Paxson and where he came from and how he was feeling when he made that buzzer beater.
Yeah. Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is another one. That might be who you're talking about. Another one you're talking about because they had some great players on the Bulls. They did. But the Bulls were Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan was the Bulls at that time. And when you're talking about marketing, there's literally a statue of Michael Jordan standing out front of the United Center. Like it's not a statue of anybody else. It's Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Let's see. She said that was so hidden that we didn't know about him.
Because they're not gonna mess up their money like that and mess up his reputation. Michael Jordan was the golden child.
I guess so. So I didn't even ask you how much time you had. So we gonna roll real quickly into football.
Okay.
I'm All-American and Colin in black and white, and still talk about how this shapes a person. Before we do so, we only got two viewers, but y'all, we got a giveaway for you. We got a giveaway. I'm gonna show you this other shirt to refresh your memory. This shirt, that hat, that sweatshirt that Naylor got on, those were stuff that came from his brain, his mind. This one too. But he also does custom. You come up with the idea, just tell him what it is, and he gonna make that thing come true. So this was the shirt that I thought of. So this is my Juneteenth shirt. You've seen it. And then on the back, this was my vision that I asked him to put together. And in words, I told him I wanted the chains in the hands to represent that, the chains are broken, from slavery period to our minds being free, right? And we're showing the slave trade from Africa to the Americas and everywhere that the slaves went. And he made that come true. So, Naylor, what is the giveaway that you have?
So the giveaway that I have is I'm really pushing these No Bad Energy hoodies. So I'm gonna give away one of these black No Bad Energy hoodies. Just let me know what size. And they come in other colors as well on my website, www.robnaylorjr.com. Make sure you click on that, see if there's anything you like. We got hats, hoodies, shirts, all of that good stuff. So are we giving it away now, or how are we doing the giveaway?
So we're gonna give it away at the end because I want them to stick with us.
Okay.
But what you are gonna put in is you're gonna put hashtag Naylor.
Mm-hmm.
When we get to the end, hashtag Naylor, and you're gonna win that from him.
Cool.
So we're gonna talk about football a little bit. All American and Colin in black and white.
All right.
Hopefully you guys have watched those. If you probably haven't watched Colin in black and white, but hopefully you guys are familiar with Colin Kaepernick and his present day activism.
Mm-hmm.
So All American, we got Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
As I was sharing, I thought he was the quarterback, but let's talk about the positions in football and what they're responsible for.
All right, so I'm not a complete expert in football, which was why it would be cool to have a complete expert. But what I do know, Spencer was not the quarterback. He was in fact a wide receiver, or is a wide receiver, which is the guy that lines up, on the line of scrimmage, how you had the guys lining up, the guys that run out and catch the ball, that's the wide receiver. So that's his job. Run out, catch the ball. Sometimes his job is to block. Then you had a quarterback, which if you watch All American, you know that what's his name? Is it his
Jordan.
Jordan is the quarterback. And then you have your running back who stands behind the quarterback when they say height, he turns around and gives it to him and he runs. You got your lineman that block. You have a tight end who can also run out. He's kind of like a wide receiver, but he's a little bigger most of the time. So as far as offensive positions, that's the ones that matter. Now the quarterback is seen as the man of the team. He's going to take a lot of the credit when they win. He's going to take the bad stuff when they lose most of the time. Now All American is a TV show, right? So they have Spencer as the guy. But like I was telling you before, even like most athletes that are generally the best player on the team, they're going to take the credit. They're not going to necessarily take the credit when they win. Like, I don't see a lot of people going in, post-game press conferences saying, yeah, we won because I did this and I this. But a good leader will take the brunt of it when they lose. Like, this is on me, whatever. Because to them, they should be able to motivate their team or push their team to success. Kind of like Michael Jordan was doing. But that's what they do. So as far as All American, which I love that show, by the way. That's Spencer's job pretty much.
So do you remember Ashton? What was Ashton? He was the white dude.
Oh, he's a wide receiver.
Oh, okay. He was a wide receiver.
Hold on, let me grab my charger real quick.
Hopefully, like I said, hey, let me know, y'all two type in, let me know if y'all watched Colin in black and white. So I know how deep I can go and what y'all understand about the show. And I also, I don't like giving spoilers because I still want y'all to watch it.
All right, cool. So where are we going with All American?
Hold on.
Change my angle a little bit.
Okay. So Spencer, you said he was the wide receiver. Mm-hmm. We know that Jordan was the quarterback.
Right.
Ashton, you said he was
wide receiver.
Okay, Ashton was a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan. Shoot, man, when they don't talk about every character, that's the okay. So QB1, QB2. And so then if we go to the other team, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Personalities. That's what I want to talk about. Yes. The personalities or qualities you think that it takes. So you already saying that the quarterback is like the one who takes the brunt, the responsibilities, the good or bad or whatever. Spencer was a wide receiver, taking on those leadership of a quarterback. You know what though? They displayed Spencer as a person who can play multiple positions, didn't they?
I think he played running back a little bit too, but not
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
And so, like you said, because now you just put that you said
Oh, no, he played
Jordan could play
defense.
multiple positions.
Yeah, Spencer played
Michael
cornerback.
Jordan can play multiple positions.
Mm-hmm.
And he took the weight of the team on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer can play multiple positions, but he took the weight of the team on his shoulders, and that's not the job of the wide receiver. That's the job of the quarterback.
It doesn't have to be the quarterback. It just can be the best player on the team, whoever's the captain of the team or the best player on the team. Like I said, most athletes that know their value to their team is going to do that. So it doesn't really matter what position. So like present day, I know we're talking football, but like basketball, right? It's almost like a positionless league now, like the NBA. They don't put emphasis on you're the point guard, do this, you're the shooting guard, do that, you're the whatever, do that. It's almost positionless. Like it's not the same build as it was coming up, like where you had a Shaquille O'Neal center, and the center was the highlight of the team, and he has to be dominant and this, that, and the third. You have guys like that are just in between that can do everything. Like Kevin Durant, he's 7 feet tall, but he plays like a guard. Like he could play like Michael Jordan played, but back in that day, at that height, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing for the most part, or looked at to do that. So it's just different now. So positions are just placeholders, to be honest. Which is why I say anybody that has that feels like their value is a certain status on the team can be like, hey, that's me. I'm not gonna take the credit when we win, because that's kind of like a jerk thing to do. Like, hey, we won because of me, guys. Hey, it's on me, you know. But a good leader will be like, and this is anything like in the Air Force again. If we have an inspection or something like that and we do bad, grand scheme, I'm gonna be like, it's gonna fall on me, right? And if we do good, I'm still not gonna be like, hey guys, just remember it was because of me. I would be like, you know what, we messed up. It's me. I'll make sure we fix it. But you know, it's just the same mentality.
So let's go to senior airman or staff sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
For you non-military folks, we E4, E5. We're gonna go to that Naylor who feels like he's the best on the dang, I don't forget what in the shop.
Yeah.
The best in the shop. So then what you gonna say? Because when Jordan was a rookie, when Spencer just went over to the other team, I wish I remember what we just hey, I'm sorry, y'all. People get crunched. No, the white team.
Oh, I forgot the name of them.
So I'm sorry, y'all. That's just how we just gonna do it. The city team.
The other team, yeah.
Be quiet. Amir just called me ghetto.
A little hood.
He wasn't even an E4. He was lower than that. But he come in like he's the best on the team. He need to prove himself.
Yeah. I mean, he was the best. Like he was the best. Like sometimes it doesn't matter where you rank. You're a freshman, a sophomore, new guy, whatever. If you're the best, you're the best. But you just got to prove it. And you got to remember, in sports, a lot of times it's all about proving yourself. And it's all about having an I'm better than you attitude. You're constantly in competition. Whether they're your teammates or not. You don't have to display it like that, like arrogance. You know what I'm saying? But it's a confidence you gotta have that says like, but I think a good leader is able to take that confidence and kind of parlay it into some trust from your teammates. Even though like inside you might feel a little arrogant, like, yeah, I'm the best out here. Because I can't tell you any time that I ever stepped on the court and didn't feel like I was the best player on the court. Now, realistically, was I? Probably not. But I had to feel like that in order to compete.
Right. So that's a little bit on them. So we gotta push it on. How much time do you have anyway?
I mean, we can. I don't really have the time. Like I said, I'm just painting. I gotta get back to painting. So that's why I was saying, if y'all see like white stuff on my hands, it's not ashy. It's just paint. I've been painting this house.
So Colin in black and white. Colin Kaepernick, as I'm sure our viewers know,
Yeah.
is quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And we know his activism. So let's see. One person has watched it and one has not.
Okay.
So we do this thing as non-spoiler.
Okay.
How can we do this? How we can do this is viewing as a black man.
Mm-hmm.
What did you like the most about the documentary? First of all, that's the first easy question. What did you like the most about it?
The thing I liked the most, honestly, was the production. Because I like how they took. Have you ever watched? You watched Blackish before, right? The show Blackish.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's kind of along those same lines. So what they do is they tie in actual history and kind of teach you, so you understand the correlation between history and what's going on now. So they have Colin pretty much narrating and talking about a lot of the historical content and showing how it ties into today. So I love that part of it, and it gives a lot of context to why things are the way they are now and why he is taking the stance that he takes now. Oh, so I think that's what I like the most about it. There's other parts of it I really like, but I think that's what I like the most about it.
Was there anything that you learned or that was surprising to you?
Um, that I learned or that was surprising. The one thing that I did learn is that so a lot of the narrative that was pushed through the media was that Colin Kaepernick was taking this stance by taking the knee as an outsider, right? So essentially saying that he's never been in a position of feeling or being oppressed. I like the fact that they were able to kind of show his history and the things that he's gone through that have brought him to where he is today, and even to make him be able to take that stance. So I think that is something that I didn't know, and without spoiling it, I'm not gonna give a play by play on everything that he experienced. You just have to watch it. But I like the fact that they were able to, kind of shed some light on that and give some type of, because a lot of people thought that he was just trying to get some attention or clout. I don't know if kids still call it clout, but clout. Uh, but you kind of see that wasn't even the aim.
Was there a moment or a couple of did you get triggered while watching this? Was there parts that triggered you?
I won't say triggered, because at this point I'm not surprised by anything that happens by way of like prejudice or racism, because we see it happen all the time. I guess in a sense there were some things that kind of, I guess you could say, borderline triggered me, as far as um, the prejudices and the racism that people are capable of doing and thinking it's nothing. Like they do, it's so common that they think that's just how it is. That's just the way it is. Just look past it. And my problem with that is because people still do that today. Like, oh, that's just what it is. That's how it is. But it's like if we just accept it as the norm, then it's going to keep on going. You know what I'm saying? And like my whole thing is, at what point do we stop it so our kids don't have to experience that?
The thing is, how do you even? So Mimi said there's a lot of things she learned and it was crazy. And she said they say cap, but I think that's about
Okay.
truthful. I don't know. I don't think cap is the same thing as clout.
Now, cap is like
That's
a
not
lie.
the same thing. Yeah.
Cap is a lie. I know that. My son 14.
Yeah. That much I know. Get on your game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, lie, right? The truth.
Yeah. They say cap.
I will say I was triggered
Uh-huh.
on a lot of things. So the next question is you're from the DC area.
Yeah.
And so as a child or just before you joined the military, in your athletic career, did you experience and we're just gonna keep it in the athletics right now, did you experience some racism?
Nah, not in athletics. Never in athletics. In life, yeah, but not athletics though.
Okay, give us if you would not mind, give us one example of a time when you experienced it in life.
All right, so there was a situation when I was in high school. Because like I said, I played ball all the time. And so like we used to play behind my school at the basketball court. And there was this one time I got home after playing basketball and I couldn't find my ID card. But I had a dependent ID card because my dad was in the Air Force too. So I had an ID card and I couldn't find it. And losing your ID card is like losing your keys or whatever. Like you need that. So I was backtracking trying to figure out, all right, where did I go? Where did I go? So I just followed went back up to the school. And now by this time it's dark outside. Right. And so I went back up to the school. I was like, okay, it's probably at the basketball court. So I drove up to the basketball court and I found it right there where I thought I might have left it, right where I had parked earlier. And as I'm like leaving, a cop comes from, because they used to drive around, I guess, patrolling the back of our school or whatever. And so he pulled me over when I got to the parking lot at the front of the school. And so he was like super rude from the beginning of the whole thing. Like I was a little nervous. I can't say I don't think I was scared because at first I didn't think it was anything to worry about, but it was kind of like he was escalating the situation, and I was telling him what I was doing there. He was like, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I dropped my ID, I backtracked, I found it, whatever." And he acted like he didn't believe anything I was saying. Like he just questioned me for like 30 minutes, and I'm like, "I just told you what happened. I'm showing you I found it." And he would not let me go. Like for nothing, he just kept me there until I don't know what he was waiting for me to say something wrong or whatever. But at the end of the day, like I looked at it more so as like harassing because you could have just asked me and let me go. I told you what I was doing, but it's like he didn't believe me at all. And so like as I got older, I kind of felt like, man, like why didn't he just believe me? If I was white, would he believe me or whatever? Once you start learning a little bit more. But like he didn't believe anything I was saying, so he asked me the same question 100,000 times. Like, what am I gonna steal at the school? Some books or something? Like, but that was one time. That was just one time that I had something like that happen. I mean, because when I moved, I lived in if anybody familiar with the DC area or the DMV, I grew up. Well, I started in PG County. I lived in PG County, and PG County is very black, I guess you could say, right? Waldorf, Maryland, if anybody's familiar with Waldorf, Maryland, now it's black. But when we moved there, it was not. It was like, it was different. It was a lot more, it was a lot less black people in Waldorf, Maryland. And so when we moved there, it was kind of like still on it was kind of like Yorktown would be in Virginia, if anybody knows about Virginia. Like it's kind of a little borderline. It was a lot of racism in there because we noticed that when we were moving in, certain other people started moving out. So there was a lot of like I've been called a nigger. in Waldorf, Maryland, and I'm sure a lot of other people have, but it's not the same as it was then. And this ain't a whole long time ago, but that was some situations that I experienced in high school there, even middle school.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that. It's all triggering. So as you described that, have you seen Queen Sugar?
That used to be my show.
And so the scene and even like the flashbacks and stuff of Noah. I don't think his name is Noah, but the son, the basketball player's son, and his encounter with the cops.
Okay.
That I thought about that as you were talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it leads to my next question. While you were in the Air Force, have you experienced any direct racist moments?
Oh, for sure. You mean like in the Air Force or like in any situation?
Well, while you're in the Air Force, and particularly, God, don't do that. Particularly while you were in uniform.
Oh yeah, with the police,
or just whatever in the community, police. Just
do
you have one story or incident?
It's always with the police, to be honest. Like I know one time, well, when I was at Pope, I was driving through Fort Bragg, and the police kind of harassed me one night. Again, like this was I might have only been like 20, 22, 23, something like that. And at the time I didn't drink. Like I didn't start drinking alcohol until I was maybe like 25, 26, something like that. So but I didn't drink at all. And so a friend of mine invited me to go out. And so I was driving through Fort Bragg, and I don't know if you remember how Fort Bragg was, but they had like these roads that curve on this one road. It was like a very curvy road. So I'm driving. I saw the police behind me the whole time. So, when the police are behind you, you make a concerted effort to drive your best, like driving school type of driving, like 10 and 2. So and then that brings, so I feel like as a black man, especially, there's this psychological thing that we have when the police get behind us. We just get nervous. So I'm driving, and he followed me for a while. Then he pulled me over, and I'm like, all right, here we go. So he pulled me over, and my dad told me to be very respectful to the police, because my dad was a police officer in the Air Force, which that's not. Anyway, he started questioning me where I'm going and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm going out with some friends, whatever. And he was like, are you aware that you broke the line back there? You crossed over the line. You had anything to drink tonight? And I'm like, I don't drink. And then he was like, you don't drink. Like everything I answered, he kind of like, oh, you don't drink? No, I don't drink. So you don't have any alcohol? I didn't have any alcohol, because that would mean that I drank. But he was like, so you had anything to drink tonight? So like he had different ways of asking me the same question. You had anything to drink tonight? What'd you have to drink tonight? Where you headed? And I'm like, I'm headed out with some friends. At this time of night? Yes, at this time of night, I'm headed out with some friends. So like he just kept asking me the same questions. Like he was trying to get me upset almost. Because once they get you upset, they have a reason. So I just kept my cool. I kept my cool, and I understood what it was, and I let that go.
And so you was in civilian clothes. So did you ever show your ID? Did you ever get to that point?
Oh, I always show my ID. But I'm sure he figured I had one because I was on base, but I don't think he cared if I was as a dependent or active.
Oh, so you was. Yeah, okay. So you was actually still within the gate of Fort Bragg's windy roads, not the back outside.
Yeah, not outside. I was on the base.
So okay.
I was like, okay. But it was one time in Virginia that wasn't that long ago. I was actually in uniform on my way home from dropping my son off in Maryland, driving back to Virginia, because I got off of work to drop him off to come back. I was tired. So, but I was in uniform, and the cop was like, upset that I was speeding, and it was coming down a hill, and I couldn't decelerate fast enough. But he pulled me over, and he was like, I tried to show him my military ID. He was like, he don't want to see it. He used to be in the military too, so it don't even really matter type of stuff. And I was like, okay, And then he was like, he was real condescending. He was like, if I give you a ticket, it's gonna be this much. Can you afford to pay that? And I'm like, what do you mean can I afford to pay that? I don't, like, sure, but I don't want to pay it, But he just gave me a hard time too. But again, like I said, a lot of times when the police pull me over, I'll never get out of character because I know that they're just trying to push my buttons to get me to a point. So I just let it go. Exactly. He wanted me to slip up and say something crazy, and I have a smart mouth, I really do. But in those situations, I know that the goal is to get home alive. So I just let it go. If you want to win that bad, Mr. Policeman, you got it. But I'm gonna go home though.
So fortunately, in your case, you said your dad was a cop.
Yeah.
So anybody's watching, what would your advice be? Or actually, first of all, tell us what was it that your dad said to you? How did that conversation go from the standpoint of a cop?
Yeah. So my dad just always taught me not to allow the situation to escalate. Like, you just got to be calm in the situation and be respectful as possible. Like, and I know a lot of my peers, they feel like it's cowering a little bit, but I don't even take it to that point where I'm cowering to nobody, because at the end of the day, I'm a man. So I know how to stand my ground being a man without being disrespectful though, and letting it be what it is at that moment. Like, and understanding that you have to understand when somebody is trying to push your buttons and get a reaction out of you. And then you have to have enough control over your energy to be like, you're not gonna get me out of character, and allow me to give you a reason to do whatever it is that's in your mind to do. It's hard, trust me. I know it's hard, but you have to understand what the end goal is.
How would you advise people to do that? Because when you are afraid, when you haven't been taught to control your emotions, save that question.
Okay.
No, go answer that one. Answer that one.
So being taught to control your emotions?
Yeah. What would you advise people, because if they haven't been taught to do that, they haven't been taught to control their emotions, and so when you're in that moment, you can be scared, you can be mad.
I think I don't know if one can really be taught to control your emotions, because it's a hard thing to do regardless. So I think it's more of a practice to control your emotions. So you have to kind of practice and understand. I think the first step is to understand yourself. You have to understand what pushes your buttons, what gets a reaction out of you, and then understand that you're not going to give people that type of control. You also have to take your ego out of everything. You can't have an ego about everything. A lot of times people just want to be right. So they want to tell the police officer how they're right and how the police officer is wrong. I'm not in the business of trying to win an argument with the police officer, because at the end of the day, he don't care if he's right or wrong, to me, in my eyes. So it's not about me trying to out debate that guy. Like, all right, I know I'm not gonna win an argument with you because you got the gun, you got the power of he said, she said on your side. So it's a matter of just understanding that. Understand that the odds are not in your favor to win an argument with a police officer. So just practice controlling your emotions and practice understanding your surroundings and what what everything is. Once you do that, it'll be a little easier, to be honest.
Have you talked to you? Look at her. Ain't nobody told you to do that yet. Are you trying to tell me that you leaving? She'd have put this.
Yeah, she said I'm out.
Are you trying to say you support him? Like, ain't nobody tell you to do that yet. She said, don't fight your case on the road, save it for the court. So one, have you had this talk with your son, with your children already? Yeah. And then two, are you a superintendent? yet, or what is your role right now?
I was before I left Langley.
Okay.
But no, not actually. I was section chief before I left. Now, so I'm in a unique supply situation right now because I don't work. I don't have anybody that works for me, and I don't. It's just I'm in a special role, I guess you could say.
I'm pretty sure section chief is what I meant.
Yeah.
Have you included some type of talk with your troops of color? Like, have the talks looked any differently today, or do you
So
just
now,
cover everybody the same?
so like I said before I left, and I had a bunch of troops. Yeah, we had a lot of diversity talks. A lot of them were kind of mandated, but I still talk to my people anyway, especially if they ask. Because I'm real with my people. Like at the end of the day, I can relate to whatever it is you're going through especially as a young black man. Um, and the talks, I don't remember anybody saying anything different to anybody because people try to still act like there's no racism and stuff like that that goes on. Even with the diversity talks, people still try to act like it's not a thing. But I don't know. I don't know how to get people to change their minds or their mindsets. So when I was at Langley, I created, I don't know if you saw it, that Stronger Together. It's an initiative that we created to kind of come together and talk to people in a group setting. It's like a therapy session.
Yes, and that's exactly how I want you to close us up.
So it's a therapy session, so to speak. So like, my wife, she's a mental health therapist by trade. Um, but she gave me the idea from watching her do her group session. I didn't watch her do the group session, but knowing of her doing the group sessions and her telling me how they work, I was kind of like, man, if we incorporated that into the Air Force culture and let people kind of just speak freely instead of those the things that are kind of mandated where they talk at you, allow people to speak and say how they feel, regardless of rank, regardless of military affiliation, and all of that. I think you have more of a breakthrough with people because the suicide rate super high. Um, so I got a team together. We incorporated that, and we actually had a session with a group that was comprised of higher ranking individuals, like your colonel, your lieutenant colonel, all those guys, and we talked about race in that a lot. And I was kind of surprised at how open they were, but a lot of them talked about their up. It goes back to your upbringing, really, because the Air Force is a microcosm of society. At the end of the day, like however you were raised in Oregon or South Central LA or wherever you're from, has a bearing a lot of times on how you are within the Air Force structure, whether it's subconscious or if it was overt, like what you're doing. But a lot of them did admit to having some subconscious prejudice. So it makes them kind of on edge of how to deal with people that they're not used to dealing with. Um, but yeah, that Stronger Together initiative allows me to see a lot of the inner workings of how the race relations are within the Air Force. And we still have a long way to go, to be honest with you.
How are those groups going, and do you still have them?
So COVID threw a wrench in it for the most part because the whole premise of it was for people to be physically together. Because a lot of the groups that we have, we're in the same location. To do it virtually kind of defeats the purpose. So it's just been hard. And then a lot of the people that's on my team, we've all PCS to different, moved to different bases. So now it's kind of hard to get everybody together but we're working on it. We're working on trying to figure out how to build teams at certain bases or try to, because the talks before I left was to make it, my goal was to make it an Air Force initiative, like Air Force wide. And the commanders and stuff that I pitched it to, they were all on board for it. And so the goal right now is to try to kind of combat COVID in a way to where we can still make it a thing. So
Do you not think that people will be open if it is virtual?
um I'm sure they would be, and we talked about trying to do that, but a lot of activities that we do are in-person activities. Yeah, so the
Yeah.
virtual thing is kind of hard to get the full effect of what we're trying to accomplish. So
Right.
That's the whole thing.
Right. Well, I don't know if StreamYard is giving me my true numbers or not, but we either lost Mimi or my sister. I don't know. But um yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Do you have any thing in the sports arena, or you want to throw some Air Force stuff out before we close?
Well, I was gonna say, because you were tying the sports and the personality thing in together, right? So I was gonna say, like, sports, even talking about Michael Jordan and his person, a lot of what he did was probably his personality, right? But sports gives people, I think, a certain confidence and a certain competitive level that you can attribute, like you can put it to anything, like you can put it to your job, life, whatever. But you don't have to be a jerk about it, like Michael Jordan was. But it gives you that kind of like a competitive edge, I guess you could say. So um, I know for a lot of athletes, like myself included, I urge a lot of people to figure out what it is that you like doing outside of just that sport, because your identity can't be wrapped up in just that sport. And that's anything, the Air Force too. Don't let your identity be wrapped up in the Air Force. A lot of the stuff that I do, like the poetry that I write and stuff, is just emotions based off of me feeling like my identity was just basketball, or my identity was just Air Force, or my identity was just, it's breaking free and figuring out what it is that you like to do. And it's great for your mental health. It's great for your mental health because we're always trying to figure out who we are anyway. So to be pigeonholed into one thing, and then if that one thing is no longer there, you're left thinking, who am I? So I just urge people to, number one, figure out who you are. Number two, seek therapy. There's nothing wrong with it because therapy does work. I know in the Black community, especially, we were always taught that therapy wasn't a thing that we do. Please go to therapy if you can. And I just want to give you your flowers and tell you that, number one, this is a great platform. And the bravery to do it is a lot of times underappreciated. And also to be in the field that you're in with therapy and social work, much needed. So keep doing your thing on those levels.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. So I guess Mimi did leave, and I guess she was trying to throw her name in the hat. I think that's what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Vita, and type in hashtag Naylor so we can give you this giveaway. And I'm gonna hit share screen.
How about this?
Yeah.
Both of them. How about both of them just give me their sizes and I'll get both of them one.
All right, that worked. They are so loud. At least they loud to me. I think that works. Davida, Mimi's gone, so I'll tell her. I'll tell
Yeah.
her. Yeah, cool. Cool. So before we go, you gotta answer my question.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're serving us breakfast? Are you giving us waffles? Or are you giving us pancakes?
Oh, pancakes. That's
Pancakes.
easy. I'm the best pancake maker this side of the Mississippi, man.
Think so?
Yeah, that's my thing.
It's a nice stop. So thank you, Naylor, for joining me today. You doing also hold on. I'm gonna put all the information in the description box. But you go ahead and tell the people where they can find you.
Oh man, that's easy. On Instagram at Rob Naylor Jr. On Facebook, I think you just type my name in. Facebook kind of weird. I think it's Rob Naylor Jr. Type that in. How you doing, Miss Lady? Website is www.robnaylorjr.com. YouTube, please follow my YouTube channel. I need more action on that. I'm gonna have more videos soon. What else do I have? I don't use my Twitter.
You got your Facebook, your website.
Facebook, website, but the main thing is the website because analytics, we really need those, and just support any way possible.
IG.
IG at Rob Naylor Jr. Yeah, man, and just share it with somebody and ask them to share it with somebody else.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
So his information will be in the description here as my guest. Thank you so much. And of course, we had to kind of condense some stuff. We spent a lot of time on Jordan, but I think it all kind of made sense talking about personalities. Definitely got to have you back to talk about some other stuff.
For sure.
That work.
For sure.
Pancakes. That's what I'm talking about.
I'll pick both.
Zendaya says she's picking both.
And I can also, like I said, I'll have my wife jump on with you too because she's doing amazing things out here. She has her practice that I got to plug her practice real quick. It's called Serenity Insight. Basically what it is, she's a meditation coach. I told you, she doesn't like me to say this part, but she has a background in mental health therapy. She's finishing her PhD now, but she's very heavy into meditation because, it's all about no bad energy. But she's a meditation coach. And I'm going to tell you, meditation works wonders. I know people have a preconceived notion about what meditation is, but trust me, if you have never really gotten into it or studied it or had somebody like her teach it to you, you have no idea how amazing it is. So if anybody has a chance, you're in the Maryland, DC area, Serenity Insight, her website is serenityinsight.org. And she focuses on each chakra. She teaches you how to meditate. She's got the new moon stuff that I'm not very, knowledgeable on, but I have taken her course twice, and it's amazing. And I'm not saying that because, she's my wife, but it is a great course. So again, serenityinsight.org. You gonna put that down there too?
I did.
Okay, cool. Appreciate you. So yeah.
Oh, I guess I should flash it. I did put it in there though.
serenityinsight.org. Yep, that is it. Yeah.
Yep. All right, folks. Thank you all for.
Don't say French toast sticks.
Okay, Zendaya wants me to say French toast sticks.
All right, I love French toast sticks.
Though that's not an option. It's
Oh.
pancakes or waffles.
Hey, look, you'll get French toast sticks though.
All right, everybody. Let's do my outro. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I would like to thank my guests for joining me, or simply thank you for watching the pre-recorded episode. No matter what your birth order is, how you self-identify, and whether you like pancakes or waffles. If this is the first time you're hearing it today, I want you to know that you are loved. You were put here for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be sure that you like and share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notifications bell. This is Real Ram out.